Hello and welcome to Historic Profiles. Let's jump right in. We love celebrating geniuses, right? Einstein, Curie, Hawking, folks whose names are synonymous with groundbreaking discoveries. But what about the minds behind the scenes? The ones history books tend to forget, even though their inventions are likely in your pocket right now. You see, for every famous innovator there are dozens more who toiled in obscurity, their contributions overshadowed, or worse, outright stolen. Their stories deserve to be told, not just for recognition, but because they reveal the often messy, collaborative nature of progress itself. What if I told you that your phone, your Wi-Fi, even the way we read books wouldn't exist without these forgotten geniuses? Throughout this episode, we're diving deep into the lives of 10 individuals who secretly changed the world. Get ready to have your assumptions challenged because some of these names you may have heard, but the impact they've had, well, let's just say you're about to see the universe a little differently. Let's get started. Picture this, it's the year 1450. Want to read a book? Tough luck unless you're royalty, clergy, or insanely wealthy. See, back then, books were hand-copied, letter by letter, often taking months or even years to complete. Each one was like a priceless artifact. This meant knowledge itself was a luxury good. Want to learn about history, science, philosophy? You better get cozy with the folks in power who controlled those texts, because access was everything. But then, in a small workshop in Germany, Johannes Gutenberg was about to unleash a revolution. He had an idea so radical, so transformative, that it would reshape the very fabric of society, the movable type printing press. No longer would knowledge be held hostage by the elite few. Gutenberg's invention allowed for mass production of books, making them cheaper and more accessible than ever before. This, my friends, was a seismic shift in human history. Imagine the impact. Suddenly ideas could spread like wildfire. Literacy rates skyrocketed, fueling the Renaissance, the scientific revolution, and the Protestant Reformation. The world was waking up. Gutenberg's first major project? Printing the Bible, which became a bestseller, ironically helping to democratize religious thought, even as it made him enemies within the church. But, like many innovators, Gutenberg didn't get to fully enjoy the fruits of his labor. He faced lawsuits, financial struggles, and died in relative obscurity. It's a familiar tale, isn't it? Yet his invention lived on, becoming the bedrock of mass communication. Newspapers, magazines, scientific journals, all made possible by the printing press. Even the internet owes a debt to Gutenberg, for he showed us the power of making information accessible to all. Hollywood, land of glamour, fame, and groundbreaking scientific innovation? You bet. Meet Hedy Lamarr, a woman whose beauty was only surpassed by her intellect. Born in Austria, Lamarr wasn't just a pretty face. She possessed a keen scientific mind, fascinated by engineering and technology. But fleeing Nazi-occupied Europe in the 1930s, she found herself in Hollywood, quickly becoming one of the biggest stars of her time. Now, you might think a glamorous actress wouldn't be caught dead tinkering with gadgets. But Lamarr was different. She yearned to use her knowledge for good, especially as World War II raged on. She learned about Allied torpedoes being jammed by enemy signals, rendering them useless. This wasn't just a technical problem, it was costing lives. Lamarr knew she had to act. Teaming up with composer George Antheil, they devised a system called frequency hopping. Imagine a radio signal constantly switching frequencies, making it impossible to jam or intercept. Brilliant, right? This wasn't some science fiction fantasy, it was a practical solution years ahead of its time. Yet the military initially dismissed it as too complex. Talk about a bureaucratic blind spot. Decades later, Lamarr's invention became the foundation for technologies we use every day. Wi-Fi, GPS, Bluetooth. That's right, every time you connect your phone wirelessly, you've got Hedy Lamarr to thank. Sadly, she received little recognition during her lifetime. It wasn't until her later years that she was finally honored for her contributions to science. Hedy Lamarr, a true hidden genius who proved that brains and beauty are not mutually exclusive. Alan Turing, a name synonymous with genius. During World War II, Turing's brilliance at Bletchley Park cracked the Nazi Enigma machine. This diabolical device scrambled messages into millions of combinations. Turing's Bombay machine deciphered Enigma, giving the Allies a critical edge. Historians estimate their work shortened the war by years, saving countless lives. Yet, Turing faced persecution for being gay, a heartbreaking injustice. A stark reminder to confront societal prejudices even as we celebrate intellectual leaps. Turing's story, like the Enigma Code itself, remained hidden for decades. Only long after his tragic death did the world grasp his contributions. The father of theoretical computer science, a war hero. In 2013, the British government issued a formal apology. Today, Turing's legacy extends far beyond computer science. Remember Alan Turing, the man who cracked the uncrackable code? Forget the Zuckerbergs and the Musks of today. Meet Mansa Musa, ruler of the Mali Empire, whose wealth was over $400 billion in today's money. He used his wealth to elevate an entire civilization. His legendary pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324 showcased his immense wealth and generosity. Imagine a caravan with 60,000 people and camels laden with gold. Musa's generosity even destabilized Cairo's economy. Now that's making an impact. Mansa Musa's pilgrimage wasn't just a display of wealth, it was a strategic maneuver to put Mali on the map. European cartographers began to depict the Mali Empire, with Mansa Musa, on their maps. A sub-Saharan African leader was recognized as a major player on the world stage. But Musa's legacy wasn't built on gold alone. He understood that true wealth lay in knowledge and scholarship. He invested in education, establishing Timbuktu as a center of learning. Scholars from across the Islamic world flocked to Timbuktu. Today, Mansa Musa's legacy continues to resonate. True leadership is about uplifting others and spreading knowledge. Mansa Musa was a king, a scholar, and one of history's greatest philanthropists. Remember Mansa Musa, whose true legacy lies in his enduring impact on history. Picture feudal Japan, a land of samurai and the way of the warrior. That, my friends, was Miyamoto Musashi. Born in 1584, Musashi was a prodigy of combat. At 13, he won his first duel to the death. Over his lifetime he engaged in over 60 duels, each one a ballet of steel and strategy. He developed the Niten Ichi Ryu style, wielding two swords simultaneously. His most legendary duel was against Sasaki Kojiro in 1612. Musashi, ever the strategist, arrived late, unsettling his opponent. With a wooden sword he defeated Kojiro in a single decisive blow. This victory cemented his reputation as a swordsman without equal. Musashi, seeking solitude, retreated to a cave. There he wrote the Book of Five Rings. This work transcended swordsmanship, delving into strategy, philosophy, and self-mastery. Today, it's studied by leaders and athletes worldwide. Musashi's legacy teaches us that true mastery requires dedication and self-improvement. Remember, the greatest battles are often won within our own minds. When we think of powerful rulers, we often picture emperors and kings, but sometimes a woman defies the odds. Catherine the Great wasn't just any ruler. Born in Germany, she married Peter III of Russia. Talk about a culture shock. Peter wasn't popular, he was as stable as a neutrino in a supernova. Catherine saw an opportunity. She orchestrated a bloodless coup and seized the throne. Her reign lasted 34 years, the longest for a female leader in Russian history. Catherine the Great wasn't just about expanding borders, she was about expanding minds. She was a patron of the arts and sciences, a collector of knowledge and beauty. Under her rule, St. Petersburg flourished as a cultural hub, attracting artists, writers, and thinkers from across Europe. She amassed a vast collection of paintings, sculptures, and artifacts, forming what would eventually become the Hermitage Museum, one of the largest and most renowned museums in the world. But her vision wasn't confined to the grand halls of museums or the pages of books. Catherine understood the importance of public health. In an era when smallpox ravaged Europe, decimating populations, she took a bold and public stand. She herself got vaccinated, demonstrating her trust in science and setting an example for her subjects. This act of leadership helped to promote vaccination throughout Russia, potentially saving countless lives. Now you don't rule for 34 years without ruffling a few feathers. And yes, Catherine's reign wasn't without its controversies. But her impact on Russia is undeniable. She took a nation on the brink of backwardness and forged it into a European superpower. She expanded its borders, modernized its institutions, and opened its doors to the world. Catherine the Great was more than just a queen. She was an empress of change, a ruler who understood that true power lies not just in conquering lands, but in conquering minds. Her legacy is etched in the grand palaces of St. Petersburg, in the masterpieces of the Hermitage, and in the spirit of a nation forever changed by her vision. We live in a world powered by electricity. It illuminates our homes, fuels our industries, and connects us in ways unimaginable just a century ago. One name stands out in this electric revolution: Nikola Tesla. Born in 1856 in Croatia, Tesla envisioned complex inventions in his mind. He developed transformative technologies. Tesla dreamed of wireless energy. He worked for Edison, but their relationship was volatile. Edison championed DC, while Tesla saw the superiority of AC. The war of the currents shaped the future of electricity. Tesla's AC system emerged victorious. Think about it. Every time you plug in your phone, turn on a lamp, or watch TV, you're benefiting from Tesla's genius. He experimented with wireless energy transmission, developed the Tesla coil, and even envisioned a world with smartphones and the internet. But Tesla struggled financially throughout his life. He died alone and nearly penniless in 1943. Today, his legacy has experienced a remarkable resurgence. Imagine being a woman in the late 19th century, passionate about science. Universities and laboratories were largely closed to women, but Marie Curie refused to let societal barriers stop her. She dreamed of a world where knowledge knew no gender. She left Poland for Paris, enrolling at the Sorbonne. She excelled, becoming the first woman to earn a doctorate in physics. Alongside her husband Pierre, she studied radioactivity. They discovered polonium and radium, expanding the periodic table. Marie Curie became the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. She remains the only person to win Nobel Prizes in 2 different scientific fields. Marie Curie's research into radioactivity revolutionized medicine, leading to radiation therapy that saves millions of lives. Her dedication came at a cost. She and Pierre handled radioactive materials unaware of the dangers. Marie's notebooks remain radioactive, stored in lead-lined boxes. She died from aplastic anemia, caused by radiation exposure. Her legacy inspires generations, proving brilliance knows no gender. Most people know Genghis Khan. You know his name, but history remembers him as a ruthless conqueror, and yeah, he was pretty good at that part. But what if I told you he was also one of history's greatest visionaries, a man of surprising depth and consequence? Born Temujin in 1162 on the Mongolian steppes, he faced more than his share of hardship. Betrayal, exile, even slavery. This was his brutal education. But Temujin possessed this iron will, a strategic mind. And through sheer grit, he unified the warring Mongol tribes and forged the largest contiguous land empire in history, stretching from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe. His armies were legendary. They were near unstoppable, employing advanced military tactics, psychological warfare, and this uncanny ability to adapt to any environment, any enemy. This was a new breed of warrior. These weren't just hordes of barbarians, you know. They were disciplined, organized, and capable of extraordinary feats of strategy and logistics. But here's the thing about Genghis Khan, his impact. It echoes far beyond the battlefield. This wasn't just about conquest. This was about connection, about building a world that for a time transcended the divisions of culture and language. See, Genghis Khan didn't just conquer lands, he connected the world. And he did it by recognizing the power of something that we often take for granted today: trade. Under his rule, he secured and expanded the Silk Road, creating the first truly global trade network. This was a network that spanned continents, linking the empires of Asia with the sultanates of the Middle East and the kingdoms of Europe. Before Genghis Khan, the Silk Road was a fragmented thing, fraught with danger. But he saw its potential. He understood that the free flow of goods and ideas, this wasn't just about wealth, it was about progress. And under his rule, merchants, scholars, travelers, they could move with a security and freedom that was previously unimaginable. The result? An explosion of trade, an unprecedented exchange of culture and knowledge. Think about it. Paper money, gunpowder, advanced mathematics, medical knowledge. All of these things flowed along the arteries of the Mongol Empire, leaving their mark on civilizations for centuries to come. And it wasn't just about trade. Genghis Khan, he challenged the conventions of his time. He introduced merit-based leadership, promoted a degree of religious tolerance that was rare for the era, and even granted diplomatic immunity to foreign envoys. This was a ruler who understood that real power came not just from the edge of a sword, but from the power of ideas. Now let's talk about DNA, the very blueprint of life itself. And when we talk about DNA, we inevitably talk about Watson and Crick, right? But what if I told you that their breakthrough wouldn't have been possible without Rosalind Franklin? Her photo 51 revealed the double helix structure of DNA. Scientific breakthroughs don't always happen in a vacuum. Watson and Crick used Franklin's data to publish their landmark paper in 1953. They won the Nobel Prize, but Franklin's name was barely mentioned. She died in 1958, her contributions overlooked. Today, Rosalind Franklin is recognized as a pioneer of modern genetics. And there you have it. 10 hidden geniuses who, in their own unique ways, secretly changed the world. From the printing press to the internet, from the depths of a Mongolian winter to the heart of a DNA molecule, these individuals dared to challenge the limits of human ingenuity. They dared to imagine a different future, a better future. But now, it's your turn. Who do you think made the biggest impact on history? Was it Rosalind Franklin, who unlocked the very blueprint of life? Or maybe Genghis Khan, who connected the world through trade and forever altered the course of civilizations? Or do you have someone else in mind? A forgotten figure? A hidden genius that history has overlooked? Drop a comment below and let's start a conversation. Because that's what this is all about, isn't it? Asking questions, challenging assumptions, never losing that sense of wonder about the world around us. And if you love discovering the untold stories of history's greatest minds, if you're fascinated by the intersection of science, history, and culture, well then do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications because we've got a whole universe of incredible stories waiting to be told. Thanks for watching Historic Profiles. And as always, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring the universe of knowledge. We'll see you in the next one.